So give it up for Hassan the Dom as well.
Uh, when they say you fight with Peter Quillin, you know that I am a fighter. I am a great fighter. I want to fight the best boxer. Peter Quillin don't have as undefeated. I say yes, but for beginning, when I take my belt in June, in July, the WBO say you fight the one of 15 or 15 number one. I say okay. I go into my training camp. I have I say I want to fight Martin Muri. He say he don't want. He doesn't want. After he say I say I want to find number two Peter Kenny and number three. At this time I don't know that I fight with Peter Kenny. At this time I'm going to my training camp. And then they say Peter Quillin are number one now, and you need to do a mandatory fight. I don't have time to prepare Peter Quillin because Peter Quillin is a great boxer, you know. He are undefeated. I say okay because I never give up for no fight, never in my life. I'm boxer. I'm man. He have two hands. I have two hands. I say no. I go in. I signed the rematch for this fight because I don't prepare for very well for this fight because I know that I go in like that, but I don't have all things to win this fight. But I have boxing for win this fight. I say I go, but I sign the rematch for this fight. No, now know that for the next fight for Peter Kenny, he need to fight me for rematch. I think it's here or in France or another place, but Peter Kenny give the best of him today. He has the champion. He won today because in my life I never go down for knockout. I surprise for 4 rounds. I say okay. I have 12 rounds to win. I go two times because you know what I see the the tape of Peter Kini. He have a right hand very strong and uppercut. I work for him. He never touch me with right hand, but I never know that he have a hook. Very yeah. I never know that he have a very good hook to it. But now I know that. But know that, my friend, for the rematch, I will work for this, for all things. I know that I have boxing for fight, for beat you. But today you are the best, you win, and congratulations for this fight.
Any questions?
Question? Is this on? No? No, okay. Peter's question's for you. Started a little slow in the first 2 rounds, and then you were able to land that big right hook in the third and get things going. What did Eric Brown tell you in the corner?
Eric Brown told me before the fight you had to win every round, one at a time. So, like I didn't watch really much film of Hassan. I just knew that once I stepping in the ring with him, I had to learn him right there. And that's what me in the first couple of rounds was learning him and seeing what I was able to do in it. Eric was, he's a trainer, so he's going to try to push the best out of me. Like I said, when people value here, you got to place yourself above, and I'm willing to try anything he tells me because I trust that whatever advice he's giving me the best advice for me. So, he wanted me to put the pressure more. I didn't want to be one of those kind of guys that follow behind Hassan and you let him use his boxing skills because he does have great boxing skills. So I wanted to cut the ring a little bit more. Eventually, I wanted to go to the body a little bit more, but he got a great distance. He knows his distance pretty well, and I was just trying to close the distance with him, and I landed some good punches. He landed some good punches, and that's what made a good fight tonight for you guys.
Last question for you, Petey. Later in the fight, he came on strong. In fact, I gave him the last 4 rounds heading to the final round. I'm down 1 point. What did Eric Brown tell you in the corner before that 12th round, and what were you thinking as far as having to finish this fight like a champion?
Well, he told me animal status. If you hear me say that all the time, it's me not thinking like a human, it's me thinking like an animal. And he was telling me, you gotta be an animal, and I was trying to press the action, but I ain't gonna even lie. I looked at Hassan, and like I said, I seen the lion in his eye, man. I seen that he was really wanted this fight. He really wanted to win. So I can't take that will away from him, and that's what I, again, made this a good fight. Not only for Hassan to learn some things, but also for me to be a good champion.
Hi, this question is for Richard. Hassan's talking about the rematch. Is that an immediate rematch clause, or can there be an option for an interim fight?
No, sanctioning organizations don't recognize immediate rematches, but there is a rematch clause assuming that it is economically feasible. And so I'll be talking to the networks to see what can be done, but the WBO does not recognize immediate rematches. But I think the way as Hassan fought tonight is certainly a kind of fighter which we would like to see back here in the United States as well. I mean, he's an exciting guy. He comes to fight. This is exactly the kind of fighters we like here in the United States.
Plus, he dances in the ring too.
You were overcome with emotion after the fight. What were some of the things that were going through your mind?
Well, I was basically crying tears of joy. As all you guys know, I got a real tough story. I came to New York when I was 18, a young kid. I left Grand Rapids, Michigan because I was sick and tired. My best friend, Johnny Perez, was telling me, I said, bro, if I had an opportunity to move to New York, what would you say? He said, you fighting guys in the street, man, they ain't gonna fight you for long. They might really want to hurt you with a weapon, so I would advise you to get out of here. So when I came here, it was real rough, man. It went to the point where the trainer that brought me here kicked me out of his house. He was standing on me with a hammer. Get the hell out of my house, And I was just like, man, just let me go. Just let me leave, man. And I was on the train, on the 4 train, heading to the Lower East Side, not knowing where I was going to go. And I went and I called my boy Steve, and Steve was telling me, come here. And we talked about it. From there, Steve was telling me, he said, you know what, Pete, you can stay here. Stay here as long as you need to. And I was staying on a little couch. And the couch was so little that I was like, man, F this, man, I'm gonna get on the floor. And I'm comfortable with laying on the hardwood floor. To the point where Steve called me and was like, man, Pete, I don't want to disrespect you or anything, but I see a mattress laying out there in the trash, basically. What you want to do? And I said, man, let me go look at it. I looked at it. I said, man, we're going to get that thing. I shriveled it up, and that's what I was sleeping on. So that right there was the testament of where I don't question God's will. I don't say, why did that happen? All these things, all those things happened to be where I'm at today. That's what gives me the confidence to know I went through a lot of hard times to be where I'm at. And like I said, I'm not trying to take anything from my son because he's a good champion. But I was crying thinking about all those times where I didn't have family or somebody telling me, now everybody got to tell me, this is how you win the championship. But nobody ever told me, this is how you get off the floor and make yourself better.
Hey, right here. Pete.
Yeah, because my trainer want to say something about the rematch.
It doesn't really matter. We have it signed, so well, let's not believe me. We have it signed. You can ask the WBO if they recognize immediate rematches. They will tell you no. So it's signed. Okay. So we have a signed contract. We will live exactly by the contract. Thank you. Okay, next question.
No, right here.
Okay, Len.
It occurred to some of us at ringside that, I know you said, Eric said that he hasn't faced a fighter of your level, but maybe you hadn't faced a fighter with his athleticism and his boxing, style. And also, what about his style made this fight exciting and maybe brought out, like you said, the best in you?
I have to say intelligence, and anybody can go out there and play rock'em sock'em boxing, and that means just throw wild, crazy punching. He's actually working behind his jab, working with his movement, knew exactly his distance, and that's right there is what I had to figure out and get to the point. I was taking those couple rounds where I had to figure out his movement. He was kind of leaning to the left with his jab, and it was kind of awkward to me, but and that's what make him a good fighter, is those things and those qualities about himself. But eventually, like I said before the fight, eventually I was going to touch him, and he was going to have to really figure out what kind of fighter he is. And like I said, anybody can fight hard, but he got off the canvas every time I dropped him to try to come back and win.
That's what I was going to ask you next. The first knockdown, we thought it was over. The second knockdown, we thought it was over. What was going through your mind when he continued to get up, and then also later in the rounds when he was coming on?
he's he's not he's not gonna quit. This dude's getting up every time I drop him. You know what I'm saying? He getting right back up, and like I said, I never had a guy like out of 27 fights, every guy that I touched, they became hurt. You know, and some of those guys got that will where they want to last, and that's what he had. And it was all about winning one round at a time. I knew I was confident in my conditioning to do 12 rounds, and it's about having that intelligence and not to let nothing, deter you from where you was trying to go. And that's why I was keeping focused. If he got back up, then I had to keep putting him down, or I had to keep winning, or just take the fight for what it is. Have he ever hurt me? Well, he hit me with a punch in my neck. That joint hurt it. But like I try to share no pain. I try to show no pain at all. I try to show no flaw at all. I noticed that I was fighting off the rope for a minute, and I think I'm usually confident with that, but I learned something. Don't be fighting off them ropes, because he might hit me with something, like he hit me with an uppercut, and I was like, man, I gotta get off this rope right here, fight in the middle of the ring.
Peter, great fight. Who you have on your radar? Who would you want next?
Well, you know what? I'm on a lot of guys' menu right now, so it's not gonna be a problem to get a fight. I got a hard-working team behind me. I got Al Heyman, I got Golden Boy, I got my management. That people say, oh man, you gotta fight for the glory. Well, I found out some glory don't pay your bills, so I'll fight anybody. I said I fight my own moms, and I still mean that. But now I got the middleweight champion. She might want to fight with me. But the most important thing is that, like, when you got hard-working people behind you that know the demographics with everything, I don't have to worry. All I got to do is just go to the gym, prepare for the challenges that they come in front of me, and I face them. And you know what? I'm looking to be a victor every time I step out there. So whoever, I'm not going to be disrespectful calling out these fighters. I was calling out Sergio Martinez, and as you can see, that never happened. So I'm going to just be focused. I'm the only American middleweight rated right now, and this is all a blessing. I'm going to take God's platform and be responsible with it, and it'll just be inspiring people.
Two things. You showed a very good chin tonight, and the second thing, you and your dad had a special relationship. So what did he tell you after the fight?
Well, it's the same dedication you got to that Detroit hat you got on right now, and you in New York City right now. But what I look at is like my dad. By the way, they did beat the Yankees though. But my father is my inspiration in my life. He's from Cuba. When I say he's from Cuba, he's born and raised in Cuba. And a lot of people would take it and say, oh, he's not Cuban, because I don't really speak Spanish. But my dad did a lot of time in prison where he was out of my life. When I tell people, describe your father, I said, well, watch Scarface, and that's my pops right there. That's a real story. But my pops, gave me that work ethic. A lot of pops, I figure out, when they get out of prison, they go back to prison. My dad got out of prison, and he showed us like roofing, he showed us like construction, he showed us plumbing, but I hate that job right there. And then I learned something else that my dad did. He's underpaying me. So I eventually quit it a whole bunch of times. But what I can say is I know how to do roofing, I know how to do plumbing, I know how to build things just because of my dad. And also what he has instilled in me is about hard work and just working for what you want and never asking people for what you want to get, and you got to work for it. So that's why I'm thankful for my pops. I've been in Cuba. I'm planning on going back, just, learn about myself and just try to get better as a person.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Thank you.